What's up guys, this is Mohammed aka Magnolia Mo. Let's talk about Ryan Coogler's Sinners. This is my review of the digital stream of Sinners on Apple Movies and Fandango at home. I will go over my thoughts about the movie and the audio video aspects of the digital stream. I'm going to try to not give away too much about the movie. Let's get one thing straight, right off the bat. The star of this movie is the amazing musical score from Ludwig Göransson, hands down. This is a drama, thriller, musical. According to Ryan, this film is a love letter to his uncle, who always played blues music. According to Ludwig, this is a guitar-driven musical score. Ryan Coogler and Ludwig Göransson connected with a lot of current and OG legacy blues musicians for this film's musical score. And a lot of these people are either in the film or you can hear their music in the film. I absolutely jumped out of my seat when I saw Buddy Guy in this film. Yes, Buddy Guy is in this movie. The musical score and songs were recorded before the shooting started for this movie. Wow. I mean, to me, that's backwards, but that's what makes it awesome, is because all of the stars, actually, even though they're not trained musicians, they had to learn how to play the blues guitar or the piano or sing, right, in preparation for the movie. So that made the shooting, I guess, so much more fun and enjoyable for all these actors. So it's actually a really good way to film a movie such as this one. So you guys know how I'm a sucker for great movie soundtracks. It just adds so much more of the rewatch factor for me, right? The whole script takes a backseat, from my standpoint. Not so much in this movie. The script writing, the photography, the choreography, the costumes, the set design is just awesome in this movie. So let's get into the specifics about this movie. Starring Michael B. Jordan as the twins, Stack and Smoke, or Stack Smoke. Movie is set in 1932 Mississippi. Stack Smoke are back from Chicago with money stolen from the mob, and they buy an old mill with this stolen money to open a juke joint. The movie opens with Miles Catan, who's playing Sammy Moore. He is a preacher's son. You see him driving up to his father's church, right, covered with blood and cuts on his face. His clothes are all ripped up. There's a broken guitar in his hand, and during that scene there are some flashbacks, right, that are happening. They're sort of like jump scares, but that right there sets up the movie, and that's what kept me engaged, because I kept on going back to that first scene during all of this character development as to figure out what really had happened. And from that particular scene, the movie then flashes back to a day earlier to give us the full story. So if you've seen the previews, right, you know that this movie is about vampires. So I'm not really giving anything away. I'm not, spoiling it for anyone, right? If you haven't seen the previews, then obviously I am, and I apologize. But I have to talk about that, right? So the movie takes a while to get to the vampires, and eventually, yes, vampires come onto the scene at the 41-minute mark. And then it kicks into high gear. What works perfectly is the cast, with Michael B. Jordan playing the twins, Stack and Smoke, Haley Steinfeld as Mary, who happens to be Stack's old flame, Delroy Lindo as Delta Slim, an old washed-up blues musician, and Miles Catan as Sammy Moore. They all add to the dynamics of the movie. The star of the movie is Miles Catan, and the movie does center around him. He is, as I mentioned, the son of a preacher, and his father had warned him about the music, calling the demons or calling some evil spirits, right? And that's where I'm going to stop and not give away too much. Let's take a look at the digital stream now. For technical specifications, Sinners was shot on film with the variable aspect ratio of 276:1 and 178:1 for the IMAX scenes. It is rated R and is 2 hours 17 minutes long. The digital stream on Apple Movies and on Vudu is presented in Dolby Vision and Dolby Atmos. Total of 15 chapters and 16 if you want to include the credits. So here is the Apple TV stream. This has some extras included. So let's check out the extras. What's included are obviously the making of Sinners, Blues in the Night, the music of Sinners. The next one is Thicker Than Blood, Becoming the Smokestack Twins, Spirits of the Deep South, Wages of Sin, The Creature Effects of Sinners. For deleted scenes, you have about 7 deleted scenes. And that's it. That's just about it for the extras. All right, so now let's talk about the best part of this movie, the audio. Music is by Ludwig Göransson. It is a celebration and evolution of music from the blues to modern day music. There are long sequences of music, and that is where the audio shines. All of your speakers will be utilized with great effects, right? Like whether it's voices panning through the speakers, whether there are special effects going on in your height speakers, or the bass kicking up, right, during the musical score. There is blues music and a whole complement of Irish folk music. Both worlds were married together very nicely in Sinners to make it feel like it is part of the same universe. So let's take a look at some of the standout scenes, from a Dolby Atmos and from an overall sound design perspective. Let's start with scene 1. As the movie opens, you will hear voices and chorus actually going in your height speakers from top left or front height left to your right height left, and all around you. The chorus actually accompanies the voices as they go around, and that pretty much set the bar for the entire movie.
In Choctaw land, they call them fire keepers. And in West Africa,
at the 18-minute mark, as Lee Jun-lee's character Grace Chow is walking from one store to another store through the street, right? As she's crossing the street, you'll hear the music basically pan, with her. You can hear people talking in various speakers, in your bed layer speakers. This is just basically surround, no height speakers, but it's a very cool surround effect, in my opinion, which just pretty much puts you in the center of this particular scene as she's walking through. There are cars going from left to right. There are folks who are talking in pretty much the various speakers. It's pretty cool.
Hold on. Tell me who you are.
At the 53-minute mark, this is the highlight of, I think, the movie.
Oh, show me more.
The soundtrack.
And magic, what we do. It's sacred.
And during that same sequence, right, that started around that 53-minute mark, it lasts till about 58 minutes. So at that 58-minute mark, that is when you're gonna hear and feel some of the deepest bass in this movie. And then when this entire scene is actually coming to an end, so that bass is then followed by, I think, something really cool that happens in this movie. I can count at least 3 times, right, where the dialogue, rises up into your height speakers along with the music to actually completely surround you in a 360 bubble. And I love this particular part of this entire scene, right? This is why this whole scene from 53 all the way until the 59-minute mark is one of the best scenes and one of the best highlights of this entire movie.
Witnessing a ritual. We hear that, people. And we be free.
Then I also have to mention that dialogue throughout the movie was very clear, especially, you know, in those particular scenes where it actually rises up. So outside of those scenes, you know, if you're just focusing on dialogue, I didn't have any issues throughout the movie. It was pretty strong and it was very clear throughout.
I think about you every day. I just want to keep.
From a video standpoint, this is an excellent looking film. You have the switching aspect ratios as I mentioned, but there are two particular scenes where the aspect ratio gradually shifts from 276:1 to 178:1, which is the IMAX. It doesn't just switch, you know, it just gradually shifts in order to bring your attention to what's about to happen on the screen, right? So it is that big medley, right, that happens around that 53-minute mark where you have music from all generations. Right before that starts, the aspect ratio starts to gradually shift to the 178:1, and then right before the battle with the vampires, right, as they're getting ready, you will see the aspect ratio gradually shift so as to let you know or tell you to get ready. The HDR in the movie was plenty, right? It's not going to blow you away, but there are plenty of scenes with specular highlights, like with burning fires, with lamps in the background. There are some scenes, you know, as the sun's going down, you know, you could see the specular highlights. From a overall contrast perspective, I found the IMAX shots to have better contrast over the 276:1, the CinemaScope, scenes. In those particular scenes, the contrast did peak a little bit, and you could see it, for yourself. And I'm not sure if it was done, on purpose or if that's how the movie was shot. But that is something that I did notice. The color saturation, the skin tones, they're all very natural. One of the actual themes in this movie, are the red, white, and blue. That's the color theme of the overall movie. So whether it's a nighttime shot, you'll see more reds in there. Whether it's a daytime shot, it'll have some whites and some blues, mixed in. The costumes have that same theme, the red, white, and blue theme going on. So that I found very consistent throughout the movie, and actually it gave it a good touch and a good color palette, in my opinion. So for video, I love the scenes where the aspect ratio gradually shifts, and I love the HDR effects in some of the IMAX shots. I'm gonna go with a 9.7 for video. I'm going to take a little bit off for those 276:1 shots where the contrast was peaking a little bit. For audio, right, I didn't give you my audio rating. I'm going to give 10 out of 10 for the surround, your bed layer speakers. I'm going to give it a 10 out of 10 for height speaker usage because there's plenty of that. And then for bass, obviously the bass was lacking during the action sequences, but there was plenty of LFE, in the musical score, embedded within the musical score. So I have to knock it down just a little bit to a 9 out of 10, for the overall bass. So the overall audio score from my standpoint is 9.9. In the end, Sinners, I really loved it. I loved the audio design. I loved the overall video presentation, and the music is just what kept me going. And I actually have watched it multiple times since I bought it originally. So, have you seen Sinners? If you have, what are your thoughts? Leave me comments below. As usual, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video, and I will see you guys in the next one.